So yesterday we have discussed about the binding energy, mass defect. So what is that binding energy? Hmm? Everyone is audible with me? सर्वांना आवाज येतोय ना? So in last lecture we have discussed about the AMU atomic mass unit. That is the 1/12 of the mass of the carbon atom that we have discussed. And after that, 1 AMU, that is equal to the 931.5 MeV, that already we have discussed. After that, we have discussed about the binding energy. That energy is required uh, to break up the nucleus and form the, you can say, the protons and neutrons, that is the nucleus. So that binding energy term is very important here. So after that, average binding we have discussed, that is the total binding energy uh, divided by total number of nucleus, that is the mass number. That is the mass number. A is equal to mass number. So binding energy divided by the mass number, that is the average binding energy. After that, we have discussed about this graph, binding energy per nucleons. That is the binding energy per nucleus means that is the average binding energy. Okay, binding energy on the y-axis and x-axis, that is the mass number. So from this we give this type of graph. The several peaks are there. So the significance of that graph we have discussed in last lecture. After that, peaks of uh, peaks of the binding energy curve, that is also we have discussed. ते पण आपण काल काल चर्चा केली याच्यावर. Now that is about, now we will discuss about the packing fraction. So that packing fraction is also related with this previous matter. That is the that is, you can see that the packing fraction, there is nothing but the mass number of the nucleus is not a whole number. Mass number, you can लक्ष द्या एकदम व्यवस्थित. Mass number of the nucleus is not a whole number, but it is very close to a number, close to a whole number. म्हणजे मास नंबर हा काय एकदम एखादा होल नंबर नाही आहे, परंतु बट इट इज व्हेरी व्हेरी क्लोज टू द मास नंबर. द डेविएशन ऑफ मास नंबर फ्रॉम इट्स नियरेस्ट होल नंबर, the deviation of mass number from its nearest whole number is called as the packing fraction. त्याला काय म्हणायचं? Packing fraction. And mathematically you can say that you can write that is packing fraction is equal to mass defect divided by the mass number. That is the mass F is equal to actual mass of the nucleus after that mass of the mass number divided by mass number. So actual mass of the nucleus minus mass of the mass number divided by the mass number. So that is that is called as the packing fraction. So F will be equal to m minus a divided by a. So m minus a is nothing but the mass defect. So you can say the packing fraction is the ratio of the mass defect per mass number. Mass defect divided by its mass number, that is called as the packing fraction. Okay, so again we can plot a graph between the packing fraction and its mass number. So if a graph is plotting between the packing fraction f and the mass number, so packing fraction it is on the y-axis and the mass number it will be on the x-axis. Okay, so this type of graph, this is the packing fraction and this is the mass number. So you observe that this type of graph is this like this. This is for the lower atom. You observe that for the atoms are the elements which having the low mass number or less mass number, it's the value of packing fraction is positive. After that, above for the oxygen, for the 16 number, it comes to the on the x-axis. After that, it becomes negative. and after for the heavy element again it will become positive. For the light atoms, so you can say that for the light atom, this you can observe that this is for light atom, and for the heavy atom packing fraction is positive, whereas for the middle numbers, for the middle म्हणजे लाईट आणि हेवी हे नसलेले जे एलिमेंट्स आहेत त्याचं पॅकिंग फ्रॅक्शन काय आहे ते निगेटिव्ह आहे. सो यू कॅन ऑब्झर्व दिस फ्रॉम द पॅकिंग फ्रॅक्शन कर्व इट इज फाउंड दॅट for the light nuclei the packing fraction is maximum and it is positive. It indicates that these nuclei are unstable. म्हणजे packing fraction काय शो करत? Packing fraction show the stability of the nucleus. If the nucleus has the positive packing fraction, that means they are unstable. The packing fraction is 0. The value of packing fraction is 0 for the oxygen. That means it is on the x-axis. Okay, as the mass number A is increases beyond the 16, the packing fraction it is become negative, and it will be continue for the mass number A is equal to 180, and then it is become positive for the heavy atom, that is A is equal to 180, and that is for the 180 and more than 180. That means you can see that is the heavy atom is unstable. म्हणजे काय, the lower the light elements and the heavy elements, they are unstable because their packing fraction value is positive. Okay, so like this. After that next point, after that the value of packing fraction for the iron is minimum, so it is more stable. म्हणजे पॅकिंग फ्रॅक्शन सर्वात जास्त कोणाचं व्हॅल्यू आहे, मिनिमम कोणाची आहे, सर्वात कमी पॅकिंग फ्रॅक्शन आहे कोणाची, दॅट इज आयरनची. सो आयरन हीज बघा या ठिकाणी तुम्हाला पॅकिंग फ्रॅक्शन कोणाचं, या ठिकाणी बघा सर्वात कमी पॅकिंग फ्रॅक्शन आहे हे कोणाचं, आयरनचं आहे. हे बघा Fe has the packing fraction very less, so it's you can say that this packing fraction is very less. Packing fraction is very less, so it is more stable. After that you can say that after that the value of packing fraction is iron is minimum, so it is more stable. The nuclei in the middle range they are stable. म्हणजे मिडल रेंज मधले जे आहेत म्हणजे लाईटही आणि हेवी नाही आहेत ते काय आहेत, they are stable. Okay, after that spin angular momentum. स्पिन अँग्युलर मोमेंटम. तर मी स्पिन शब्द नेहमी ऐकलेला आहे. स्पिन शब्द कुठे ऐकलेला आहे तुम्ही? स्पिन मीन्स व्हॉट? स्पिन म्हणजे काय होतं? स्पिन म्हणजे समजतं का? स्पिन म्हणजे समजतंय? स्पिन म्हणजे माहित नाही आहे का? स्पिन मध्ये आपण शब्द क्रिकेटमध्ये तुम्ही ऐकलं, बॉल स्पिन झाला, स्पिन झाल्यामुळं, स्पिन मीन्स मोशन ऑफ एनी पार्टिकल. आता क्रिकेटच्या संदर्भात म्हटलं तर काय होतं, तो जो बॉल असतो क्रिकेटचा पण स्वतःच्या भोवती रोटेट करतोय, बरोबर आहे. असं इट इज मुव्हिंग इन द फॉरवर्ड डिरेक्शन ॲज वेल एज इट इज मुव्हिंग अबाउट इट्स ओन ॲक्सिस, बरोबर आहे. तर तो काय होतं, जेव्हा व्हेन इट इज गोइंग टू स्पिन or it rotate about its own axis, its direction is changes. That is called the spin. That is the, in case of the cricket, that word is used. So proton and neutrons inside the nucleus called the nucleus. The proton and nucleus neutron ला आपण काय म्हणतो, न्यूक्लियस म्हणतो. They have the spin about their axis. म्हणजे ते काय करतात, स्वतःच्या भोवती ऍक्सिस मध्ये फिरत असतात. The spin motion is quantized. The spin motion is quantized. Inside the nucleus, each nucleus has the spin and angular momentum, and its magnitude is given by this. त्याचा जे angular momentum असतो, the angular momentum of the nucleus inside the nucleus in the nucleus, that is given by mod of s is equal to square root of s in bracket s plus 1 h cross, where h cross is equal to h upon 2 pi. So हे काय आहे, So this is the magnitude of angular momentum. The spin angular momentum means what? The nucleus, inside the nucleus, they are moving, they are spinning, or they are moving about its own axis. This is called as the spin. That is called the spin of the particle. And inside the nucleus, each nucleus has the spin angular momentum. Spin angular momentum, that is the momentum. The momentum means what? So momentum म्हणजे काय म्हणता येईल आपल्याला? When it is moving, or it is moving with some velocity around its axis, it will have momentum. त्याला काय असतं? स्वतःच एक momentum असतं. So this momentum is given by this formula. Okay, where h cross, that is h cross is what? Where h is the Planck constant. So h cross will be equal to h upon 2 pi. Okay, त्याच्यात तुम्हाला लक्षात ठेवायचं स्पिन अँग्युलर मोमेंटची व्हॅल्यू ही आहे. हे आपल्याला ऑब्जेक्टिव्ह मध्ये विचारू शकतात. After that, here S is called the spin angular momentum. Momentum quantum number. This momentum has the two components along the z-axis. AMS is equal to plus half and MES is equal to minus 2 half. तर हे सुद्धा दोन व्हॅल्यू असतो. MS च्या किती व्हॅल्यू असतात? 2 अलॉंग द झेड एक्सिस. ओके, सो हे सुद्धा आपल्याला एक्झाम पॉइंट ऑफ व्ह्यू इम्पॉर्टंट आहे. तर प्लस हाफ म्हणजे वरच्या डायरेक्शन आणि मायनस हाफ म्हणजे in the negative direction. After that, orbital angular momentum. The orbital motion of the nucleus is also quantized. म्हणजे बघा, तो स्वतः भोवती फिरत असतो आणि मग त्या न्यूक्लियसच्या भोवती सुद्धा फिरू शकतो. म्हणजे तो स्वतः भोवती फिरतो आणि it have the motion in the forward direction. So orbital motion of the nucleus is also quantized. Inside the nucleus, each nucleus has the orbital angular momentum, and this orbital angular momentum, it is given mod of L is equal to square root of L in bracket L plus 1 h cross. Again, h cross is equal to h cross. म्हणजे orbital angular momentum, these particles are moving in the specific orbit. So this is so that's why they have the orbital angular momentum, and its magnitude is given by this formula. So where L is the orbital angular momentum and quantum number, and it is only the integral value. It has the integral value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. The components of L has along the z direction is also quantized. MS is given by MS is equal to L minus 1, L minus 2, plus 0, minus 1. So up to the minus L. So these are the total angular momentum is what? Total angular momentum, it is the vector sum of orbital angular momentum and spin angular momentum. The total angular momentum म्हणजे काय असतो? It is the vector sum of orbital angular momentum and the spin angular momentum. So J total angular momentum is given by J, and J is equal to L plus S. हे सुद्धा महत्वाचं आहे तुम्हाला एक्झाम पॉइंट. The magnitude of orbital angular momentum is given by this. L is equal to square root of L plus 1 h cross. The spin angular momentum has the direction, has the MS is equal to plus a and half. So J will be equal to L plus half and minus half. If L is equal to 0, then if L ची व्हॅल्यू समजा 0 असेल तर काय होईल? J ची व्हॅल्यू plus 1 plus half. So J will be positive like this. After that, parity. The parity describe the nuclear. आता हे इथपर्यंत म्हणजे यात एक लक्षात ठेवा, टोटल अँग्युलर मोमेंटम इट इज द सम ऑफ द ऑर्बिटल अँग्युलर मोमेंटम आहे J इज इक्वल टू L प्लस एस. ऑर्बिटल आणि कोणते मोमेंटम सांगितले मी तुम्हाला? J इज टोटल इज इक्वल टू व्हॉट? Vector sum of orbital and spin angular momentum. That is the total angular momentum. Okay. Now we will discuss about the हे समजलं इथपर्यंत? Parity. Now what is meant by parity? Parity describe a state of nuclear state. According to the quantum mechanics, the behavior of nuclear particle can be described in terms of the wave function. So parity describes the nuclear state, and according to quantum mechanics, तुम्हाला माहित आहे की particle have the dual nature. The light has the dual nature. like that, particle nature and wave nature. So inside this particle, inside the nucleus, they are the particles, nucleons are there, and we have to consider that they are like the uh, they have the they are moving like this, अशा प्रकारे, म्हणजे वेव्ह नेचर सुद्धा असतो पार्टिकलला त्या. सो यू कॅन से दॅट दिस वेव्ह फंक्शन psi depends upon the coordinates of x, y, and z particle. The nuclear parity is based on the symmetry properties of the wave. If the coordinates of the particle is x, y, z, and if they are changed to minus xy, minus x, minus y, and minus z, with the mirror image of the particle, then the behavior of wave function under inversion of the coordinates through the origin describe the parity of the nuclear state. समजा coordinates particle चे wave function चे x, y, z असतील, आणि it is changes to minus x, y, z. That means it is the mirror image of this second one. So this is called as the parity. So if the wave function satisfies the above equation, satisfies the following equation, psi is equal to, you can psi is equal to xyz and psi is equal to minus xyz. No change in the sign of psi. This is called as the even parity or positive parity. याला म्हणतात positive parity. On the other hand, psi is equal to xyz and minus psi is equal to minus xyz. This change the sign. या ठिकाणी बघा sign change झालेला आहे. So that is called as the negative parity. So in general, you can say psi xyz is equal to p minus xyz, where p is the quantum number and property is defined as the parity of the system. So p is equal to +1, that means it has the even parity, and p is equal to minus, that means it is the odd parity. Okay, so this is about the parity. Parity म्हणजे काय आहे? Parity describes the, it shows the nuclear state, त्याच्या nuclear state. In whenever we are discussing the parity, we have to consider the particle has the wave nature, and the wave nature is described by the function psi, and it has the coordinate x, y, z. If its mirror image, if the particle is moving, it has the wave nature. समजा हा वरच्या त्याचे कोऑर्डिनेट्स असतील, मग समजा तो खाली आला असा, वेव्ह नेचर म्हणजे अशा प्रकारे होईल ना ते, अशा प्रकारे वेव्ह नेचर समजा अशा प्रकारे असतो. तर त्याच्या समजा वरच्या एक्स वाय झेड असेल, मग निगेटिव्ह खाली आला तो, तर त्याचे कोऑर्डिनेट्स काय मायनस एक्स वाय झेड. दॅट इज कॉल्ड एज द पॅरिटी. ठीक आहे, समजलं? सो इट इज सफिशियंट फॉर टुडे. सो समजले सर्वांना ना? ठीक आहे, मग आपण थांबून जाऊ आता. एंड